I'm not saying all of modern Orthodoxy is bad, so don't get all excited, because I'm sure there's some that are still like battling evolution up here, and they haven't, they're still using nice mechitzas, and there's some who probably haven't even trickled into evolution. It's like a big spectrum. Yeah. It's a big tent in modern Orthodoxy, but there's no getting around it. There's a lot of modern Orthodoxy that is now inequality, and okay, so we have Aish that's gotten down to evolution, modern Orthodoxy, which is already quicksand into equality. These people went across the line. Then you go down to gay rights. Gay rights! Oh, everybody in the liberal world loves to scream gay rights, right? And it's crossed into the Jewish world, right? Conservative is now right here.
And some modern Orthodox.
Okay, wait. Let's start with conservative.
Yeah. Okay.
Conservative 5 years ago, I think it was, came out and said they now accept same-sex marriage, and they accept openly gay rabbis.
Yeah.
The homosexual act, no problem. Our God is a loving God, and He would never,
Well, they actually don't sanction male anal sex.
Oh. Okay.
So they drew a line there.
They drew a line?
Yeah.
Because I know that there's some, I think maybe it's just reform then.
The reform sanctions male.
Yeah, it's like, it's 612 mitzvahs. It's not 613.
If they're reform, it's more like 170.
Okay, whatever, but it's like, well, but God's a loving God. Okay, well, how do you deal with the fact that He says that, male homosexual act is an abomination? Oh, He didn't mean that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable what they do. So right now, conservative is all in the gay rights thing. That's where they are. They seeped into this level, and as Levi just mentioned, even like the most extreme, way out there, left-wing wacko modern Orthodox is already sinking into this gay rights thing, and they're very uncomfortable with it. They have issues with gay rights now, right? It's like they're trying to apologize for it. They're very uncomfortable. They can't take a stand and say no.
Yeah.
They can't take a stand and say no. And I'm not surprised by it. I'm not surprised by it at all, because they're just leading their pack down. Because once you take the step over the top into the first level, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump until you get down to reform, which is all cut up in racism. Reform is the only one that I know of that's down here. Racism means, because in the liberal world, the ultimate thing you call somebody's a racist. But what racism really is saying, one people, one world, please. We're all the same, and there shouldn't be ethnic differences between us. Let's all chill. And Judaism says not like that. It says the complete opposite. Judaism says there's Jews and there's Goyim. That's what there are. There's Jews and there's Goyim, and you're not one of us, and that's too bad. And that really conflicts liberal thought. And they have a problem with that. And the problem is going to show up intermarriage. Because in liberal world, the greatest thing you can do is marry a black. Am I right? I mean, like, just, to intermarry is like a beautiful thing, right? So you're going to have a problem. Because there's the first problem is, if it's a guy marrying, a Jewish guy is marrying a woman, you're going to have to deal with the fact that she's not Jewish. So then, they can get around that somehow. They can give her a bogus, quickie, abracadabra, you're Jewish thing. Or they can do what, Chelsea did with Chelsea Clinton, and they just don't even bother. They just bring in the minister and do an intermarriage, and they have no problem with intermarriage. And then they say, well, what about my kids? Are they going to be Jewish? No problem. They changed the rules, and they said that your Jewishness is determined patrilineally. They changed the rules. So now you don't even need a Jewish mom, and you're Jewish because of your dad. So they basically bent the rules all the way. I don't know if there's any rules left that they can't bend at this point. So that's why I say, once you get down there, you've passed through all four. And the reform are way down here now, and every single rule, they passed the gay things, equality, no problem. There's nothing that's left that the reform can't bend on. I mean, there's nothing left. But you want to know what? Give conservative 5 more years, they're going to be down here in the racism one too. And they're going to be having problems with this too. And the more left-wing thing, that's the next thing on the agenda. Maybe 10 years away, modern Orthodoxy is going to be dealing with intermarriage issues. And you want to know something? And this is, you can quote me on this. Aish has already taken the first step. They're new. Give them 50 to 100 years, and they're going to be battling with all these things. Because once you bend, once you take that first step and you start bending the rules for people, there's no rule that can't be bent. And that's what I have to say on that.
I want to say something about racism. Race plays no role, basically, in Torah. There's no Torah way of categorizing people based on their skin color. So race doesn't play a role in the Torah, in the Tanakh, in the Gemara, the Talmud, and the ongoing rabbinic tradition. Like categories of black, white, yellow, they have no significance in a Torah perspective. We don't categorize people by race. We don't adjudicate things on matters of race. Like race is absent from a Torah perspective on life. It's just not there. It's just doesn't come up. It's not a way that the Torah looks at life.
I would agree with that, except that we do. The Torah does determine people based on their ethnicity.
Yeah, the tribes. Yeah, the tribes, but not by skin color.
No, skin color, no.
I mean, there are incidental remarks that so and so has darker skin, but it plays no significance
No.
to how the Torah approaches life.
Yeah, exactly.
But the
racism
Torah
there.
does believe there are fundamental differences in that. I mean, this week's parsha is Shoftim, so that we all have our roles to play. So, for instance, there are the Levites. The Levites don't get to own anything in the Torah constitution for the land of Israel. They depend upon the offerings, the gifts of the rest of Israel. Not all Levites have the same role. There are the priests, who are a subdivision of the Levites, and they have the Kohanim, the Cohens. They have a separate role from the non-Kohanim Levites. Then there are the 12 tribes, and the different tribes have some different roles. The priest takes care of principally what we might call ritual law, or laws of the sacrificial system, laws designed to bring people closer to God, kind of human God-centered mitzvot. Then you have the prophet, who's also plays a prominent role in this week's parsha of Shoftim. And the prophet never comes along and tells people, oh, you need to keep kosher more strictly, or you need to be more firm and regular in your sacrificial offerings, or he doesn't come along and say you need to keep Shabbos more strictly. These aren't the primary emphasis of the prophets. The prophet's primary emphasis is ethical behavior between human beings, person to person, man to man, that sort of stuff. That's what the prophet's role is. And so this week's Torah portion provides for a king. You want to have a king? Okay, you can have a king. And here are the mitzvahs for a king. He can't have too many wives, can't accumulate too many horses, and he must write for himself 2 Torah scrolls. So the king, in a Torah perspective, all he gets is like restrictions on his powers and on things he can do. Then the only positive mitzvah is he has to write 2 Torah scrolls so that it'll help him to fear God. So I kind of take this Torah-dic attitude into life today, and I think different Jews have different roles. And so I think for some, well, they should just sit in yeshiva, just study. And other Jews should make a lot of money.
Oh, that's like
so they can support yeshiva.
Yisachar and Zebulun.
Right, or the Rambam and his brother. Rambam's brother was a trader, and he supported the Rambam for many years. Other Jews should, build nuclear weapons, and other Jews should, keep an eye on the radar systems, and other Jews should make movies, and other Jews should write blogs, and other Jews should do stand-up comedy, and so different roles. I'm totally down with it, and I'm totally down with different roles for children and adults, different roles for men and women, different roles for a convert and someone who's born Jewish. As a convert, there are some things that you should not do. You probably should not become a rabbi. That would be the majority Torah position on it. There are converts who become rabbis, and I'm not going to yell at them to give that up, but the majority position is converts should not become a rabbi, should not take a position of leadership in Jewish life. You definitely can't serve on a beit din that deals with conversion. So, you're a convert, you should